Welcome to First and 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champion AB. Alongside him is my guy, Dio the Machine. Guys, last week we did round one, looking at the Fantasy Mojo board. Let's do round two now. It looks like Saquon is going as that first pick, rounding round two. Take a look at round two. Is there anything that looks off? Is there anything that you guys want to talk about? And what about Saquon going in the second round still that early?
Yeah, first off, I want to apologize to the general public for not having an intro. Unacceptable. We've addressed the situation. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're currently under construction.
We're under construction. Okay. The set's going to change.
Set is going to change. We're upgrading. But I want to apologize for that. It will be corrected, though. Second round. So the last pod, was titled First Round Does Not Matter. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I still strongly believe that. I think for the most part, you can pretty much be happy with anyone taken in the first round. And really all that statement means is that, like, in really any type of format, but take a format like the Fantasy Pros Championship. The last 3 weeks, that tourney week, the money week, anyone in that first round, I can envision and easily see them going on a 3-week run, putting up 20-plus fantasy points. I can easily see any of them just having a breakout week where they put up 40 points. All of them have basically almost done it. And anyone that hasn't done it, it's not. It's well within the realm of the possibility. And you can just see any of those guys smashing and being the player that takes that team to the promised land. So that's what that means. It's like we can't predict weeks 15 through 17. Hell, we can't predict weeks 2 through 10. Right, be happy with anyone in that first round. Obviously, we have our preferences. Now, second round, that's where things change. Okay. So I think the second round, I think there are guys in this round that are going to surprise and even beat their second round ADP. And I think there are guys in this round that are going to disappoint quite a few people. And there'll be some people, there's some guys who just sort of kind of hold value. So this is a tough round because if you were just doing one draft, my advice would be, obviously shoot for someone with high upside, high floor. That's like a Jonathan Taylor, if you have the luxury of that, and avoid, guys who maybe have a much lower floor and who we're sort of kind of betting on to take that next step. And we'll kind of talk about some of those guys. If you're a mass volume drafter, I think you pretty much just have to have, you have to have a percentage and some ownership of almost all of these guys to some degree. Maybe not all of them, but pretty much like most of them, the majority of them. And, definitely I think the way I'm going to play it is I'll have some of everyone, but there's definitely going to be quite a few guys that I am overweight on in that second round.
Who don't you like in this second round, though? Who do you think is kind of too high? Just looking at this board.
Looking at this board, I think Drake London is a little too high.
What?
I know.
after yesterday,
I know. But it's the way you phrase that question. I have no I'm gonna have to have some Drake London. And if you remember and you recall, like literally almost every other week throughout the season, I would just send out random texts like, Drake London is a baller. I'm going to have a lot of Drake London in 2024. Drake London is going to be at the top of my target list in 2024. And this was before the QB change. This was before the OC change, because the dude is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
But when we're taking him this high, it's not just that he's just going in the second round. He's also going in like the early mid-second.
Yeah.
So for me, when I'm dedicating that much draft capital to a player, I want to have confidence in your floor, and I want to feel that you have upside.
Yeah.
And he is just missing that one piece of a confident floor. Whereas, like, I feel like Marvin Harrison has a higher floor given the offense or given the quarterback that he's in, given the elite talent.
But we haven't seen him yet, so how do we know?
You haven't seen it, but to me, he is the clear alpha number one. Yeah, and I am a strong believer in his talent. Marvin Harrison.
Oh, okay.
With Drake London, you got to worry about CMC, the CMC, the CMC of the South,
the new CMC, CMC of the South. I like that.
I like the CMC of the South.
You got to worry about Kyle Pitts. Darnell Mooney is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm not. They
got Rondell Moore too,
and they got Rondell Moore. And I'm not just throwing out names just to say try to like dumb down. But those are some pretty maybe minus Rondell Moore. Those other ones are some serious target competition.
Yeah.
But I still like Drake London. It's just that floor. And maybe it's the recency bias of the him being in that Arthur Smith system, but I just like other guys ahead of him. Like,
can I touch on a few things?
Yeah, please.
So looking at the second round, I think first off, when I look at the second round, this is pretty much every year from pick, and we're talking about first round pick 9 to pick 12. When you start looking at the second round, I think it's irrelevant to some extent because you could take a player in the back end of the first round. And then take another player in the front end of the second round, and then your next draft, take that player you took in the second round in the back end of the first round, but then the guy you took in the first round, the last draft, will be available in the back end of the second round. So it's like all those players are interchangeable. Like, you could take Garrett Wilson 112, or you could take him 201, or you could take him 111, or you could take him 202. It's like these guys are all going to be there. So I think the second round really truly starts maybe more so like 204.
Exactly.
Marvin Harrison, like you were stating.
Exactly.
Now, when I look at all those guys, I mean, we already had the Drake London discussion, but you touched on it. But I'm not a big Drake London guy. And my big thing with him is I don't think he's a big separator, right? I think he's good. He's a good body guy.
Yeah, contested catch.
Contested catch.
Good hands.
He can. I don't even know who I want to compare him to because Devontae Adams maybe has a little bit of that, but Devontae Adams can also separate, and he's a great route runner. Mike Evans has a little bit of that, but Mike Evans can also go deep on you and also
he
high
can
point the ball.
Deep. Yeah,
he can high point. So I don't know who I want to compare London to, but just the fact that for me, his value is going to come with his target share.
Who was the old Raiders wide receiver that came out of Lubbock? Came out
Michael
of
Crabtree.
Yeah, he reminds me like Michael Crabtree.
Yeah, that's a good comp.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with him. I also have an issue with Olave just because I just haven't seen him do it, and we as a community keep raising him up.
You haven't seen him do it. We saw him do it last season.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, I don't like Olave.
Yeah.
But going back, I also think the second round doesn't matter, including the first round. I think both rounds don't matter because all those guys are still going to be second round picks. Like none of those guys you're going to see commonly fall into the third round, which means their value is kind of set. Yeah, and it really is going to depend on. It's going to depend on where your draft slot is, right? Because you're not. Even if you could put the board back up, Chris, when you get a chance, even if you don't like somebody like a Drake London, right, or Olave, if you're in the fourth hole and all the guys that typically go in the second round are gone already, you're almost going to feel like you're forced to take London and Olave because if you take a third round guy, you're almost reaching. And you don't want to reach that early, right?
Let me renege on that question or my answer. Okay, I want to answer that question again. I think all of those guys, with the exception of a few that I'll point out later, going into the third round, all those guys are second round in the same tier. So basically everyone that's in the second round right now, and the higher you are in the second round, you're just overvalued because to me, I don't necessarily know that Drake London is that much better than Jalen Waddle, Brandon Ayuk, Michael Pittman, Nico Collins,
Mike Evans.
Like I don't like Deebo Samuels, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith.
It's almost like the board is dictating who you take in the second round right now.
And do not let it. That's
a horrible position to be in.
I love being overweight on certain people. If I, so be it. If I just just completely get destroyed by being overweight on a player, so be it. Otherwise, why else are you playing?
So here's what sticks out to me. And from last week, I actually wanted to address this, but we obviously did have the ability to or the option to because none of them were in the first round. But it's really these tight ends that really are sticking out to me, right? I think that's the discussion we really need to be having.
And that's basically my handful.
And even going to the third round, we look at Mark Andrews and even maybe Kyle Pitts now a little bit. All those tight ends right there, I think is really they're the ones that are really kind of mixing around the board and going different places. I've seen Laporta go first. I've seen McBride go first. I've seen Kelsey go first. I've seen Kincaid go first. I've seen Andrews before Kincaid. I've seen Andrews before McBride. I've seen McBride before Travis Kelsey. I've seen all these guys just kind of going in different places, and that's I think where you can really mess yourself up because if you if you pick the wrong one, because most likely if you're picking a tight end in the second and third round, you're most likely not picking another tight end till later, right? So if you pick the wrong one, it could really mess up your team for the long run.
And I think, format obviously is very, very important. So in a tight end premium, this is one of the few years in a long time where I am back in and prioritizing, if I can, getting one of those getting one of those elite tight ends, because I think the wide receiver position for the first time, people say this every year and I always disagree, but I actually think it is pretty deep in terms of there are certain guys that I really like later on that are always there that I feel like can perform like top 12 wide receivers. But the tight ends, I keep talking about this idea of tight ends are being pushed up. So the fact that you can sometimes get Mark Andrews in a tight end premium in the third round, and then in the fourth round you see Evan Ingram go, and then in the fifth round you see, like a Ferguson go. The difference between those two, to me, there should be a bigger ADP gap between Mark Andrews and Jake Ferguson.
Oh yeah, okay.
So if I'm landing Mark Andrews in the third round, or even in the late second round, and other people are pushing these tight ends up, I feel like I'm winning. I feel like I'm winning in that situation. It'd be different if those guys were going a lot later like they normally are, because then I may say, okay, let me take a couple of stabs at some of these mid tiers, and then hopefully one of them hits. But those guys are getting pushed up. So
let me ask you this, and Chris, you can chime in. Who was your tier 1 of tight ends this year?
Ooh, that's a good point. So tier 1 of tight ends, obviously,
and maybe blend it into tier 2, because we obviously know Laporta is way better than Pitts, right?
Right.
But okay, so who's your end of the tier 2, I guess?
So let's talk about that for a second, because there's a tweet that I think someone posted inside the text message thread that talked about tight end 1s typically are top 2 target getters on their team. And so when I think about it that way, I think about those tier 1 tight ends as who could be a top 2 in targets on their team. And I can only see Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid. I hate that he goes in a second, but I can see him being top 2.
He's one of those ones where you definitely got, you haven't seen it, so you got to take a leap of faith, but it's not a hard leap, and it's not a wide leap to take.
So tier 1, I'd say Sam Laporta, Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, Trey McBride, and Mark Andrews, and I'll stop there.
So not Pitts?
I wouldn't put Pitts there yet.
Okay.
Just because, again, we hadn't seen it.
What about Ingram?
Ooh, that's a close one. But I can see it.
I think Ingram will be top 2 target getter on his team.
Yeah, I can see it.
I agree with that. I think I need to see the splits of Ingram and Christian Kirk.
It's crazy.
Because I think they live and operate in the same part of the field. I'm sure somebody's posted something about it.
Zay is gone. Ridley's gone. They got a rookie who's probably may have a little learning curve. Yeah. And then Gabe Davis. You know how I feel about Gabe Davis. I feel like he's a phony.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. And this might be sacrilegious, but I probably would have Ingram over Dalton Kincaid, honestly. Ingram, I think, was a top 6 tight end last year.
I think he's more talented.
Ingram had a lot more targets last year.
I don't know about more talented.
I think he's more talented.
The issue with Ingram is touchdowns. He does not score touchdowns.
But he can. That's touchdowns is kind of fluky.
I don't know. I think sometimes it's.
But here's the biggest thing with Kincaid. I think dependent. We just are all ignoring. Dawson Knox is still there. They didn't just give up Dawson Knox. They actually gave him an extension a couple years ago. They like Dawson Knox. Kincaid really showed out last year when Dawson Knox was hurt.
Yeah.
When Dawson Knox came back, they put him immediately back in the offense. They didn't just ignore him. Remember the same thing happened with last year, or maybe not last year, but maybe a couple years ago with Zach Ertz and McBride. He was hurt. McBride was doing all this thing, and then Zach Ertz came back. And it probably wasn't to the same level as what Knox and Kincaid was, but I do think Knox is still going to be utilized, which means Kincaid is sharing the target share, and unless they're doing 2 tight end splits the whole game.
Yeah. I think to me, Knox plays a different position. I think he just plays a different position. So I'm not looking at it as, okay, there's X amount of tight end target share and Knox is taken away from it. I'm looking at it as Dalton Kincaid plays his position, Knox plays his position, Curtis Samuel plays his position. Okay, and then you got Coleman playing his position,
but
and then
Knox,
there's like
there's
100%
fantasy points, just so I can see.
And there's 100%, and it's just going to get divvied up. So
but
to me,
Knox isn't this run blocking tight end. Like
he's not really that much of a receiving tight end. In fact, he's had issue with drops. The fact that they went out in the first round and picked up Dalton Kincaid tells you something.
So look at this list we're looking at right now. If you just look at it just for face value. Kincaid is what, the 12th tight end last year?
Yeah, but he was a rookie.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. I mean, but okay, what about Laporta, right? But anyway, that's besides the point. Look where Ingram was. He was number 4 tight end last year. Yeah. Still dealing with Zay Jones and Calvin Ridley.
Zay Jones was injured a lot, but But the big thing was Christian Kirk was injured a lot.
He was. But they paid Ingram last year, so they gave him a good extension. They gave him good money. He showed that he can.
130 targets is nice though.
And then the point you just made, he wasn't scoring touchdowns. Yeah. So let's now say positive regression. But what if he now scores some of those touchdowns?
But the issue too is like these are like his targets were like really low A-dot target. Like he had 130 targets, 104 receptions, but only 884 yards.
Yeah, I mean,
I sort of see this Kincaid situation like Dalton Schultz and Ferguson when they were kind of sort of changing the guard there, but they were both still getting
used.
But they're on the field at the same time. I don't think one is phasing one the other. They play two different positions.
I mean,
they play two different positions.
I definitely see where you're coming from, Abby.
They're not.
And I'm not saying I disagree, nor I agree. Yeah. I'm just saying there's a factor with Kincaid that I think we just, as a fantasy community, we're ignoring right now.
Yeah,
like we're almost like. We know it's there, but whatever, go away. And I think if we embrace, okay, what is his value with Knox? Would they utilize Knox? Yeah. It might not be a high target share Knox or a successful Knox, but just a Knox being there nonetheless.
Yeah. So Kincaid was a lot more palatable when he was going in like the mid to late third rounds.
Oh, he's going in the second right now.
He's routinely going in the back end of the second round. I've been in a number of drafts for whatever reason. I have like a lot of high draft slots, 2, 3, and I'll be on that. I'll be in the number 2 spot, and a couple of like those top tier tight ends that we just talked about will be on the board, and I'll think, okay, you know what? Let me grab a wide receiver here, and I'll get one of these tight. No, a lot of people are going CMC and then going 2 tight ends. Kincaid and Andrews or Kincaid and McBride or whatever 2 top tight ends. So I'm seeing that build a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
Can I make 2 more? Oh, you were finished?
Yeah. So the only thing I was going to say is, Kincaid falls into this category of all these guys are being overpriced because it's just one big tier, and you're just at the disadvantage that you're drafting him. You have to draft him at 201, and somebody can draft somebody of equal value at 311, 312, 403, and because you mentioned a couple of issues with Kincaid, but the other issues that I think no one's really discussing is that Curtis Samuel could take the targets.
Curtis Samuel plays in that part of the field.
Could take the targets.
Yeah,
they could be exactly what and nobody's even talking about Shakir, who was coming on at the end of last year.
True that.
But the other thing that happened, like that transition,
they started more OC, running team.
They were a lot more running team. So how many targets are there actually in this offense? Well, I don't have a lot of Kincaid, so that's not hard. I got to play devil's advocate.
Furthermore, so the question I asked you all, if I was to ask that to myself, I would kind of move around the tight ends a little bit. And the thing about ADP, once they get set, it's like people have a hard time shaking it up. Like there's no way you could take Pitts before Kincaid. Like he's a full round ADP less.
But why?
I don't know.
And this is the thing. This is the thing that always gets me. How many years were we just like on this Pitts train because of what? His talent, right? But his situation was terrible. He is getting someone from the McVay tree, okay, who's already expressed how great a talent he is. We're going to see this passing game and the attempts increase.
Yeah.
So his situation is as good as it has ever been. He's also going to be healthier. He's seasoned now and has been in the league a couple times.
Right.
What if they actually start using him as a tight end?
I feel you.
And not just using him as a wide receiver split out, going against other cornerbacks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish your thought on Pitts if you want, because I wasn't really going on Pitts at all. But
I know, but see, now you got me on Pitts.
You want to discuss Pitts?
Now I'm thinking about like why go Kincaid?
Right. But the point I was trying to make, just so I don't forget what I was trying to say, was I actually like players like Ingram and somebody that I have no idea why he's going so late, Njoku. Njoku finished the season great last year. And I mean, we could say maybe it was because he was playing with Flacco and whatever.
That's what
but I might think it's the offense. Like they were actually like targeting this guy a lot. Like he was he was a deep tight end shot. In the playoff game, he had a long deep throw to Njoku, and he's going like near after Ferguson. You know, so. Like, and if you go back to that list as far as fantasy points, if you look at Kincaid, like, okay, what exactly are we excited about Kincaid with? He had 66 catches, less than 600 yards, 2 touchdowns.
But he was a rookie though. He was a rookie.
I mean, I get it.
With them trying to force the ball.
Are we just straight projecting Kincaid totally?
It's a narrative train. It's an echo chamber. It's a narrative train. You're absolutely right.
We seeing Njoku do it last year. We see Ingram do pretty good.
But you also know what it is. It's people hate Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Maybe not as a person, but as a fantasy. Yeah, they hate. But the thing is, everything that I see with this Cleveland Browns team to me says they're going to be a spread offense.
No, they're going to be a passing offense.
They're going to be a passing offense. They're going to be a passing offense.
Like they're going to live and die with Watson's arm.
I'm about to be 3 for 3. Watson is criminally underpriced. I may literally
no pun intended. No pun intended.
Like criminally underpriced.
It's his fault. He shouldn't have been out there. No, I agree with you. I think the offense is going to throw a lot, especially with the Chubb not being there and kind of ramping up a little bit. They paid Watson all that money. Like they got to see Judy. They got to see what they got in that guy. And again, that offense was spread last year. I don't think Stefanski just says, "Well, we're only doing this because we have old man Flacco. And, you know, we trust his arm. Like we can't do this with Deshaun Watson,
they need to know. They need to know
exactly who just had who's the leader in passing just a couple years ago or 3 years ago.
Watson also has the threat of the run too as well.
So just to tie a bow on what I'm trying to say, I don't like the way these tight ends are set up right now. I think they're kind of misvalued. And again, I like Njoku. I like Ingram. I like Kittle a little bit.
So let me ask you this. Yeah, Kittle got to somebody get traded.
And we're talking about two guys. And Ingram and the tweet that we were talking about, Ingram and Njoku can be seen as top 2 target guys in the team.
Absolutely.
You know, so
if you cannot be seen as, there's no reason you should be drafted. Like I will never ever draft Dalton Schultz. Never.
And we're Texans fans. We ain't drafting Dalton Schultz.
There's like no reason that you should be drafting Dalton
Schultz might not even be the 4th target guy on this team.
So so looking at that tier, the second round, you can limit it to the second, or you can go into the third. You can even go into the 4th. Give me 2 or 3 guys that are like, these are my targets, irrespective of ADP.
You're talking about players? Just
players.
Overall?
Yeah. So we're not including the Kelsey, Jonathan Taylor, Barkley tier. Okay. We starting from Marvin Harrison, and then you can go as far down the board as you want.
I'm still in on Kyron.
Okay.
I'm still in on Kyron. I seen him go crazy last year. Yeah. The only reason his value is low now is 2 reasons: because people are scared of Corum, and then maybe that foot injury. Yeah. You know, but I've seen Kyron go crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
And they trusted him out the blue too, right?
I like that.
Chris just gonna take away the board while I'm trying to utilize it.
No, man, because I think that y'all are really undervaluing the season that Olave had.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there. We gonna get there.
All right.
Go ahead. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
No, but I'm not talking Olave. I like Kyron. I still like Devontae Adams. I love
really.
Yeah, I like Devontae Adams. Okay. I love Trey McBride just because he's shown he can garner those targets and do well with them. Yeah. And I still don't know if they have a number 2. We obviously are all agreeing Marvin Harris. Wow, we got 2 Cardinals in round 2. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. But I still think Marvin Harris is number 1. But I don't know who they're number 2. I don't trust Michael Wilson. I don't trust Greg Dortch to be that guy. And I don't even know who else they got. Right. So
Zay Jones.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I still think Derrick Henry is a value.
Should he be going in the second? So you think Derrick Henry?
He was going in the second round last year.
Yeah, but now he's 1 year older and one
in a better.
I just think the Ravens are going to try to use him as much as they can. Yeah. Like and then with the threat of Lamar Jackson running as well, I think it's going to open up a little bit more for him than he's ever had in the past. I mean, because if you sell out to stop Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like teams used to sell out to stop the Titans.
You can't do that.
You can't do that anymore.
That's one reason why I was on Tannehill for so often, because at the goal line, teams would sell out. Teams would sell out, and he would literally just walk in. He would moonwalk.
Let me finish saying my guys real quick, and then I'll let y'all keep going. I like Travis Etienne this year.
Okay,
I just I like what he did last year. I don't think they added anything there. I think he's 1 year now, even more removed from that ACL injury or whatever injury he had a couple years ago. And I just think he has the run skill set and now the receiving skill set. Mark Andrews, I'm always gonna love Mark Andrews. As long as Mark Andrews is in the NFL, I'm gonna be a fan of his. Of course, the greatest running back in NFL history, Devon Achane. I love him. I'm not big on Josh Jacobs for a myriad of reasons. Number one, I don't like that contract. I don't like the Lloyd edition. I don't like how he kind of broke down last year. I mean, the year prior, I think he had the most rushing attempts.
I don't know if he broke down or
he did. He
broke down or gave up.
I think he wanted to save a little bit because they didn't want to give him that contract.
Before the injury, he was terrible. But he was playing for a contract. He was playing for a contract.
I know, but I think he knew that they were never going to give him that contract.
But he didn't know anybody else. You don't want to put out bad tape. There's no way. I've never heard a running back hold it in and like not put his best foot forward in a contract year.
Fam, if I know that they're not re-signing me, I am not about to go out there injured. I'm not about to like run myself into the ground when I'm trying to get to that next contract.
But you are trying to get to the next contract. You got to put out good tape.
But he's young enough to where he knew he was going to get that next contract. And he had and the season before that was good enough to where teams would take it.
So let me finish up real quick. Go ahead. Pittman, I think, is a first down merchant, and if you don't know that phrase, I got it off one of those Matt Harmon videos I watched recently. I love that term, first down merchant, or big. I think it's called big play merchant. People that just score big plays, so it makes their excuse. Go and watch the video. Anyway, Pittman, he's also a person I don't think is a big separator. Pittman and Drake London are kind of similar to me, even though I might actually have Pittman over London.
I do.
Crazily enough, I love Ayuk. I'm always gonna love Ayuk. Nico, I'm a Texas guy. I'm a big fan. I just don't think Nico's the number one receiver. He might. I mean, I think we're gonna have an offense. Texas, when I say we, I think Texas is gonna have an offense where anybody can be a number one receiver. I think they just find an open guy and all of them can produce. I love Mike Evans. I love Mike Evans here. I love Jalen Waddle. And then DJ Moore, I'm still a fan of. So.
All right, so no reason to do round three.
Damn near everybody.
No, there's a few I didn't like. I mean, they're top three round guys for a reason, right? Like they're good players, so I should like them, right? Like if they suck or if there's a major wart, then they shouldn't even be going that high in the first place.
So basically, you're pretty much pointing out what we talked about. Like, don't look at round two as like this unique, group of players. Really, they're just part of one large tier. And have fun with it.
And choose your remember guys. When you were asking us the other day about who you should draft, and I was like, you're getting a lot of, I forgot what pick you had. I was like, shake it up, right? Yeah. That's kind of what I was referring to. Like all these guys in the second round, they're set in the second round. Like if we know those second round, third round guys are not that different, I'll just take one of the third round guys in the second round.
Does not
Why
matter.
not? Right?
You know what?
And you're still gonna have the same type of players in the third round as well, anyways. And then your team is gonna be unique. Compared to the other people that are drafting teams right now.
So, for me, after Marvin Harrison, okay, maybe for some before Marvin Harrison, but for me, after Marvin Harrison, second round doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
Listen, Marvin Harrison is like 205. Like, that's the whole second round.
That's not
All right. Every year we see teams that are projected to not be very good. And we just discount who's on that team.
Totally ignore them.
Not we.
Yeah, not
we.
Right. Last year it was the Texans.
Trying to tell you about the Texans.
Right. And we had a whole episode
about Rams, Baker Mayfield.
The Rams.
Guys, can I get my question?
I'm sorry.
Hey, we're passionate about this. We want to pat our back. We ain't taking our victories last year. We ain't taking that. One victory
let
left.
him get his stuff off.
But as Dio said last year, hey, they're still going to score fantasy points. There's still fantasy points to be had.
They're still going to play games.
They're still going to play games.
Yep.
I want to talk about the Giants for a second because, yes, so they draft Malik Neighbors. We believe that he's going to be receiver 1. We believe. Who's receiver 2 there? They still got Wandell. Is Darius Slayton still with the Giants?
Wait,
what about Darren Waller? His contract.
Darren Waller, after seeing that video,
Darren Waller is
done. And dropped the video right now.
Yeah, he's done now.
Darren Waller is done, man. Who is the Giants receiver 2?
You want to rapid fire this?
Go ahead. We can rapid fire because there's quite a few.
Okay.
All right.
What do you got?
I got, if healthy, Wandell. If not healthy, Darius Slayton.
Yeah. Now you hedging. Wandell. Wandell still a second round pick or a first round pick? He was a top round pick, right?
I think second round.
I think Wandell's issue, he was just hurt, right?
Yeah, just hurt.
Like when he actually played, he actually was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
They used him, like they were targeting him, and he wasn't doing bad.
Jalen Hyatt?
His A-dot was short.
You don't think Jalen Hyatt is going to be?
That's a good point.
He's
going into his second year.
Yeah.
He's a deep threat.
Draft capital.
He's a fast guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he may be. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking him on the best ball. I wouldn't bet on him now until I saw him do something.
Yeah.
But if I was to just make a bet right now, I would stay Wandell.
All right.
Followed by his boy Slayton.
So you like Neighbors?
I do like Neighbors.
Okay.
I do like Neighbors.
Okay.
I love Neighbors' talent. I'm not in love with his situation.
What do you mean?
The team, the quarterback.
He said, "What
offense.
do you mean?"
You know what I mean.
But the thing is, like, a receiver 1 on a bad team can still put up.
Adam
He
Thielen ball.
can.
Yeah,
He can.
ball.
Oh, he can. He definitely can. And I'm drafting him if I get a chance to draft him. But
plenty
I just don't like the situation. It's, in Dynasty, I'm a Dynasty player, so I'm not a guy that cares about situation. I'm going to take talent. And, situation can change.
Are you avoiding your tight ends?
For the Giants?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not it. He's not it.
Yeah.
Like, he might be nominally the starter, and he might get some targets, but he doesn't have the skill set to take those targets and do something crazy with them.
Yeah. And you can't depend on a rookie right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm all for that.
What about the running backs?
I mean, we've been talking about Gray, right?
But Singletary's been going late, so you're not.
I'm taking Singletary because he's going late.
Yeah.
But I'm also taking Gray. Yeah, I'll take both. Yeah. And you can draft both without it hurting you too much.
Do you play a little bit with getting a little bit of Tracy to try to hedge? Nah, you just all Gray.
I'm just going Gray.
That's yep.
All right, so let's talk about the Washington Commanders running back room. How do you guys see that shaking out? They bring in Austin Eckler.
Bro, what is this?
Brian Robinson.
Is this ESPN? ESPN has Eckler as a starter?
Oh, this is this is perfect for us. This is perfect for us.
Yeah, this is perfect because he is not the starter.
Yeah.
The starter is Brian Robinson. And y'all got to stop.
Let me sit back. Let him cook.
Y'all got to stop disrespecting B-Rob. Right? If you look at what B-Rob did last year, B-Rob was going off.
He was okay.
No, he was going off. Like, B-Rob was like a top 10 running back for majority of the season. And everybody kept not wanting to play him, including myself, because I had him. But I was like, bro, like, he keeps producing every single week that he's out there. And he's just going to keep getting better. And they trust him not only in the run game, but also in the passing game. So, no.
Look, we saw what Cliff Kingsbury did for James Conner. Nobody wanted James Conner those years. People still don't want James Conner. I don't know why people hate James Conner. But whoever the running back was for the Cardinals, as much as I don't like Cliff Kingsbury as a play caller, the running backs were very, very effective. They're used a lot in the red zones. You have Jaden Daniels, who has that rushing threat, very similar to Kyler, that can help open up lanes. He uses his running backs in the passing games as well. Dedicated screens.
Who we talking
and
about?
Targets. I'm talking about the offense in Washington.
The Commanders.
So to me, like, you should, even if you don't believe in Brian Robinson, take stabs at this running game.
Bro, go back to what you just put up, Chris.
Absolutely. I am absolutely in with you on the idea of B-Rob.
He had a 28-point game, a 27-point game, a 20-point game. He had a game where he had 9 targets. 7 catches, 6. Like, he's used, and keep in mind that he was a second-year back.
And he would take targets to the house too.
Yeah. So was he a rookie last year?
I've seen him take 2 different two screens.
Okay.
Yeah. To the house. Like 60, 70 yards, screens to the house.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Like, if B-Rob is being considered by the fantasy community, and, I'm not really one to kind of know what the echo chamber is saying, so I don't really know what his sentiment is now. But if the sentiment is Eckler as a starter, then there's value in taking B-Rob.
Well, the ADP has Eckler going ahead of B-Rob.
Really?
So, yeah.
No, I think that's a mistake.
We may see it shift as soon as like mandatory mini camps and training camps start, and people start seeing who's getting the first carry. Then eventually things start to kind of correct themselves. But
you want me to kind of get crazy with it a little bit?
Go ahead.
I don't even know if Eckler's a number 2. I think Eckler might be the passing down, back. I think the number 2 is probably going to be Chris Robinson. Chris Rodriguez.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
If you look at the way they used him at the end of last year, they used him pretty well. Now, of course, it's a new regime, and I guess with that being the case, I could probably wipe out everything I'm even thinking at the moment. Really, even considering B-Rob, but he got a lot of burn at the end of last year, and he was doing pretty good for a 6th or 5th round running back.
I just didn't like the talent.
Yeah, he has the body type. Like he has the size that can actually take a full 3-down workload. And he had a pretty good college career. So
and yes,
and he might get that second year bump too.
And the Commanders
we talked about that earlier. The second year.
And the Commanders O-line is definitely suspect. But guess what? The Cardinals O-line has been suspect for years.
Yeah.
And their running backs under Cliff Kingsbury and even not under Cliff Kingsbury have been productive. So don't let that be a reason why you can. That's one reason why still I love the hero RB approach, and that's one reason why I probably won't have a lot of Derrick Henry. Because I just see a lot of running backs that I really like that go so much later. And I think, the cliff drops off a little bit more as people are pushing wide receivers up the board a little bit. I
mean, I said this last year. I think in this stage of drafting, if you're one of these high-stakes drafters, because, home league drafts ain't happening right now. They're not even really paying attention that much. But if you're like a high-stakes drafter or doing a lot of best balls, I think this is the ideal time to go zero or hero running back. Yeah, that's right. Zero hero running back. Because I think we truly don't have a grasp of how these depth charts for the running game are going to shake out. Kind of like the same thing with the Dolphins last year. Remember last year we were taking Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
As far as the Dolphins running back, we were straight ignoring Raheem Mostert, or we were trying to figure out which one of them was the guy, and then it ended up being Mostert, So I think there's a lot of situations like that. Even now, you look at the Titans backfield, that might be a little bit like that. Of course, the Commanders backfield, the Browns backfield.
Let's talk about the Browns. Historically, it's been a great running, running team. Even the Browns backfield historically has been a great running team. Nick Chubb broke his leg last year, nasty injury. Jerome Ford fills in. They no longer have
Kareem
Hunt. Now we got Deontay Foreman kind of filling in.
And didn't they get Pierre Strong or Nyheim Hines?
And Nyheim Hines is there. How do you guys feel that backfield kind of shaking out?
Yeah, I think this is a great target in any way. It don't matter if you're a zero RB, hero RB, robust RB. This is just take a stab at one of them. They go too late.
All of them go late.
Jerome Ford, all these guys are going well after all handcuffs. They go after some third string guys. What's the guy with the for the Dolphins, the rookie for the Dolphins,
Wright.
Yeah, Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright is going ahead of some of these guys. That's crazy. Times, which is kind of crazy. So this is a great O-line.
Let me ask y'all a question. Why are people so down on Jerome Ford right now? Because maybe my memory is thrown off, but I feel like there was a game last year when he just went crazy.
No, so Nick Chubb goes down early in the season, and Jerome Ford was one of those coveted handcuffs. This is why I tell people, at least I tell myself, be careful with handcuffs. He was a coveted handcuff. He was in that top tier. Yeah. You want to have the handcuff to Nick Chubb because Nick Chubb.
Can you go to his numbers, Chris, while Abby's talking?
And what happened? Nick Chubb went down, and people just assumed that he was just going to go in and get 60, 75, 80% of the touches. No. What happens when a running back goes down is they bring in another player. Okay? Yes, sometimes we luck out or we're in the right situation where that handcuff gets the majority of the workload. But in this situation, he basically just split time with Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt got the far majority of the goal line touches. That to me was the main issue.
Yeah,
they went out and got Kareem Hunt, and I know Kareem Hunt has some history with them, but they went out and got Kareem Hunt off of his couch and trusted him in the most, dire situation, or the most critical situations in the red zone, at the goal line, on third down, in the 2-minute drill. Those are all the money downs.
Yeah,
so you had an ineffective Kareem Hunt. So it was hard. It was almost like you might as well just start Kareem Hunt and hope that he falls in the end zone. Otherwise, you getting low calorie touches.
I mean, I feel you, but looking at these numbers right now, right? If you really look at it, full season wise, he only had 6 single digit weeks. Every other week is a double digit, and he kind of fizzled out at the end. Besides that 26-point game, which is great against the Jets. But he had a 7 game.
No. Look, so I can't remember when Chubb got hurt. I don't know if he got hurt.
I don't remember either.
Week 2 or 3?
I think it was week 2. So you probably didn't start him in a Pittsburgh game.
Yeah, you didn't start in Pittsburgh.
So then you started the next
in Tennessee, and he gave you 19 points, which is pretty good.
And a lot of people were scared because at this point, Tennessee was a very good run defense, so you started him. But then look at this run. 9 points, 11 points.
Though. San Francisco.
He gave you a 17 point. Then he came back with a 4
Seattle
point.
Was trash.
12. 11, 11, then a 14, 13, 7, 9, and then when you weren't planning on it against the Jets, he gave you a 26 pointer.
I agree. So people probably salty about when
it's not even just being salty. It's they brought in Kareem Hunt. I think Foreman is better than Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
So they brought in Kareem Hunt. Now they're bringing in Foreman. I don't know. I feel like they're going to do basically the same thing, and I think they're going to pass more.
Okay. I feel, but with all that being said, Ford is going late, right? Yeah. Value wise, and if you can get if you go true zero running back, and if you pick that guy up and he gives you the same type of production he gave you last year, I don't think you're too upset, right? You're getting a guy that is giving you average. Would you say that average is 10? Yeah. Maybe 9.5, 10.
It may not be a bad idea to grab him and Foreman because Foreman goes super late. You
can get both of them.
What about Chubb? Are you just completely? Chubb goes in the 8th, 9th round.
I'm just scared of that injury. It was so devastating.
So not even in the 8th and 9th round.
He's going higher than Ford.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying with all the injury, he had his injury is so bad they had to wait until they could do the surgery.
I saw him on a golf course with Deshaun Watson and one of the other Browns player. Something that I just tweeted out recently. So
how'd he look?
He was just give
me something. He was just leaning on the golf course. Is that a lip?
I didn't see the swing. I don't know.
Is he favoring that left foot right there?
I think I didn't see a golf cart in the background, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure they wasn't having them just walking around a golf course though.
Oh man, let's talk about the Vikings. Obviously, TJ Hawk goes down towards the end of the season, knee injury, has surgery on that knee. How do we feel about the tight end room with the Vikings, assuming that he's not going to be back at the beginning of the season?
Have you any thoughts on this at all?
I'm just grabbing TJ Hawkinson whenever I miss out on those early tight ends.
But so you don't have any thoughts about his replacement? Because I do. I know the guy.
But it said that he's ahead of schedule though. So
they always say that.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not really if a guy has a devastating injury, I'm not trying to hope for the best and wait it out. I'm man, I'll just pass. Yeah. But the other guys there are, if you're a dynasty guy, keep these guys in mind. But Josh Oliver, who he was a Jaguar, and I guess he was more known for his blocking prowess. But when Hawkinson went down, that was the next guy up. But also Johnny Munt. And I might be butchering his last name, Mundt. Look at Munt, whatever. Look at him. And then they just signed Robert Tonyan, which they just signed a couple weeks ago. That kind of threw off my whole thing because what is he gonna do? Because there was 2-3 years ago, Robert Tonyan was a big Green Bay Packer tight end that people were kind of touting a little bit. So just keep those guys in mind. I'm not targeting any of them.
Wait, go back to that list because now you got me curious because not everything's gonna go to JJ. And not everything's going to go to Addison. Yeah. So, Brandon Powell had a couple of weeks last year.
Or you can look at it Justin Jefferson's to the fucking moon.
Yeah.
That's really how you can look at it, right? Hey, we ain't got nobody. All right, fucking throw it to Jefferson.
We should actually talk about this running back room.
Yeah, you might
the running back room?
This running back room is kind of interesting. I know that y'all are not high on Ty Chandler.
I am.
No, I'm cool with Ty Chandler. I'm cool with Ty Chandler.
I got a ton of Ty Chandler.
Because
you know why? Because for whatever, this is why all handcuffs are in the same tier. You don't know who's going to get injured.
Here we go. Abby came.
I came around. Plus, we did a different NFL now. Like the whole running back by committee thing just screwed the game up. But yeah, like we don't know which ones are going. So I just target the latest ones. Like, why am I wasting 9th round draft picks
on a hope and a wish?
Yeah.
I'm passing up Brian Robinson to grab a handcuff. Like I drafted James Conner in the 8th round, late 8th round.
Like thinking, I said last year.
And I already knew in my head, I knew in my mind that Benson was going to go 2 picks later. And felt more than happy with it because I had Brian Robinson fall right back to me.
Like I said last year, all these handcuffs have the same exact value.
That's 100% true.
They're just on your bench until the guy in front of him gets hurt. And then when the guy in front of him, somebody gets hurt, a guy you thought was a bum handcuff ends up being way more valuable than all these other handcuffs.
And you know the issue, sorry, we're going off topic a little bit, you know, especially if you do like a lot of hero or zero RB. If you draft all these handcuffs and you're like, okay, one of these guys is going to hit, that means probably like really 60, 70, 80, 90. If you're unlucky, 100% don't hit. But you're not drafting these high-value handcuffs, not in these high-stake leagues.
Yeah.
So these guys aren't just taking roster spots. You know, don't just think of it like, okay, like I can't drop them. Think about it from a standpoint of like, I mean, you didn't get Puka in my leagues, but there were a lot of leagues where Puka was on the bench. Oh, Puka was on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
That first week, how comfortable did you feel dropping one of those high-value handcuffs to grab some of these guys?
Right.
Yeah.
Trey McBride was dropped across the board.
Yeah. That's a good point.
You know, so like they it's not just that like they're just, you know, they're taking up the spot. It's they're preventing you from potentially
making moves.
Making moves and drafting league winners. You're hoping that may be a league winner, but then there's much more likely that you're going to get that off the waiver because it's just more
That's a good point. You draft these handcuffs, and literally the only purpose you're drafting them is because you're waiting for the guy in front of him to get hurt.
Yeah.
And what if that guy just doesn't get hurt? So now this guy just sitting on your bench, and you're just playing the waiting game.
Or he does get hurt, and he turns into Jerome Ford. So getting back to your Ty Chandler, like, I love him because he's a handcuff that I can get super late, but he's also a handcuff plus. Because at no point in Aaron Jones' career has he ever gotten just a full workload. And they've already talked about how Ty Chandler is still going to be involved. So it's not a situation where, like, you're dying to start, but like in a spot start, you may have him. But you don't know what his role is going to be. Maybe he is the goal line back. We've been frustrated for the last 2 to 3 years because they have, for some reason, been giving A.J. Dillon goal line touches.
Yeah.
For the love of me, I have no clue why.
You know why he looks big. Like he looks like
big.
We've seen how effective Aaron Jones in the ring is.
Exactly.
So, like, they could be doing the same thing.
I'll go a step further. Look at the third and fourth string guys. Like,
they're
not inspiring.
Yep.
But still, I mean, like Keenan can kind of.
He's just a fast guy.
Yeah, but
he's just a fast guy.
He's a kick returner guy.
Yeah, he's a kick returner. He's not. And then Myles Gaskin, come on, man. Like, why are you still in the league, bro? Like, yo, give it up, man. It ain't working. Come on, man. So it's like, of course I'm gonna take Ty Chandler. Honestly, man, Aaron Jones better stay healthy because otherwise, Vikings might be in trouble.
And when does Aaron Jones ever stay healthy? Never. So if you were gonna take a bet on someone.
So let's think about it. So let's go to the dynasty. Let's put my dynasty hat on. Because Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, did he get a 1 year contract?
I don't know.
Or am I tripping?
I want to say it's like a 1 year deal.
Because if he got a 1 year deal,
at least with the second year out,
then what the Vikings doing at running back next year? Ty Chandler probably would still be under contract, but they're gonna have to figure something out. So I would probably, if I was a dynasty guy, I'd be trying to get Ty Chandler on my team.
All right, so let's talk about the Bengals for a second. Tight end. They bring in Mike Gesicki, still has Drew Sample. He was with them last year. Tanner Hudson.
They got Eric All, I believe.
They drafted Eric All, who I picked up in my rookie draft.
They drafted another rookie tight end, too. They got two rookie tight ends. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they did.
What do you guys think about...
you know who we missing?
Who?
They have Irv Smith.
No, I thought Irv Smith is...
The Bengals? Are we talking about the Bengals?
Yeah.
They got Irv Smith.
Is he still with them?
I don't think
he's with the Chiefs. Maybe
he's with the Chiefs now, I think.
Maybe I'm tripping. I might be tripping. I'm sorry, everybody. For some reason, I feel like Irv Smith went to the Bengals. Maybe he did go to the Chiefs.
I think he did go to the Chiefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Disregard what I was just saying then.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you guys see that tight end room now that guys like Irv Smith are out of there? But do you think Gesicki can fill in and actually get you some value?
Irv Smith was there last year. Is that what we're saying? Okay. I got you. Man, none of them are really exciting me at all. The tight end room.
I'll pass.
And let's be real. I mean, Tanner Hudson had some games last year where he did a little something, but that offense doesn't really use their tight end much. Mm-hmm. Really, man, y'all need to be just
go get Burton.
Have I talked to Burton on this podcast yet?
No.
My God.
Don't even talk about it.
Yeah, let me not. Okay. Let me shut up. Yeah. I don't even want to talk about this no more. Next topic.
Next topic. Some things we can't talk about in June.
That's not a June topic. What about the Dolphins tight end?
Jonnu Smith, I think, is undervalued. Now, I don't think he's going to do much. Like, I don't think he's going to go crazy.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to use him. And y'all remember those weeks last year?
Man.
With the Falcons?
Listen, we
had some contentious discussion about Jonnu Smith in our group chat.
Yeah.
I think Jonnu Smith is a tight end. I'm not even a Kyle Pitts person. I've never been a Kyle Pitts person. Literally, I've drafted Kyle Pitts maybe once in the last 3 years, however long he's been in the league. For some reason, I took offense to that. Yeah. What do you mean he's the tight end one?
When I was texting,
I wish you would have put that in the Twitter
should
spirit.
I text this?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing it. I'm looking at the numbers.
Oh, man.
But I don't want to believe it. I was like, that's all. Literally what you said.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks into the season.
I think Jonnu Smith is tight end one.
You should have sent that as a tweet. Because if I react, I can't imagine what people who like actually invested in Kyle Pitts would have done.
I mean, it was crazy. And he kept doing it.
And he kept doing it.
And then he just fell off a cliff. Then he was just like, all right.
That's the one thing that gives me pause with Pat Freiermuth. Because everyone's like, oh, Pat Freiermuth is the only tight end in Pittsburgh. Are you sure about that?
They got anybody else there?
They got, it was the one rookie from Georgia.
From last year, right?
Pull up the depth chart. It don't matter. It doesn't matter who's there. If there's a name on the depth chart, Darnell Washington.
But he's more of a blocking.
You can say that. Right? You can say that.
Yeah. I mean,
you can say that. What did people say last year with Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts?
I'll say this: Cole Kmet was considered a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
He was Connor just drafted high.
Oh my God. I can imagine just like Arthur Smith getting in the room and be like, "Oh, bro, this kid Connor Haywood, we can do a lot with this guy."
Bro, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Pruitt started getting some burn over there. Like
he has history with Michael Pruitt.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I know people are talking up Pat Freiermuth right now, but I'm not there. Looking at this depth chart, they say Van Jefferson is a starter. Is that what I just saw?
That's why. Please go get Ayuk.
Is that what we're doing right now?
help out my Debo shares.
Wow.
And go get Ayuk.
Van Jefferson. Shoot, I would put Quez Watkins over Van Jefferson.
Steelers are the one organization that actually could benefit or like are in position to get an Ayuk. They don't have any quarterbacks that they are paying money. They are not paying Russell Wilson anything. They are not paying Justin Fields anything. Yeah. They don't have anyone under long-term contract. They can easily, it's going to be a minute. They need to go get Ayuk.
It's crazy smoke. It's crazy smoke coming out between the Niners and Steelers trade. So I bet it's almost like a disappointment they don't get one of them, honestly.
Yeah. It's got to be Ayuk.
I mean, honestly, the fact that they are not trying harder to add talent to that wide receiver room other ways is kind of telling to me. Yeah. Like, they must have all their eggs in the basket as far as getting one of those guys. Or at least trade it for somebody.
Does Cordero scare you any? Being in that backfield?
No, he's there for
I think Abby mentioned it once. I think Cordero's the
he's there for kick return.
Like, I think that's strictly his role.
I say that again. It's Arthur Smith. I say that. But actually, I'm actually buying Najee this year. Again, he's going super late. So, Contract year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anytime you start eating right.
Contract year.
Mm-hmm. Anytime you start eating right, you know it's serious.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's the episode this week. Okay. We went through the second round.
Like 10 things. Okay. All right. We saved.
Let's save something. Like, it's a long season. It's a long off season. Let's save something.
All right.
Any dynasty picks, Dio? Yeah.
No, not really. Man, I've been trying not to talk about this guy, and I'm kind of embarrassed to even kind of be excited about him. And I know everybody else is talking about it, so I'm late to the game. I'm not even going to try to act like I'm one of the first ones to tout him up. But Dontavius Wicks for the Packers, man.
Yeah.
That boy's good.
Yeah.
I was just watching some highlights.
He almost got me to the finish line last year.
I was like, man, this boy is cold.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I don't know where he's going to stand on that offense. Like, I don't think Jaden Reed is going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if Christian Watson's going anywhere. And Romeo Doubs seems to like him.
So best ball is easy because you can just pick him, and then whatever weeks he goes off. Yeah. Somebody gets hurt. In redraft, that discussion is harder. Same thing with the Texans is harder because not all these guys they can't all hit their ADP.
No way.
When the end of the year is said and done. But this is the thing, just go back and look. Use the Texans at 2023 season as an example. Things happen. You always say it. It's a game of attrition. So if you believe in the talent, just grab him.
Yeah.
And then it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
Because I held Wicks because I believed in the talent, and that shit worked itself out. And and he got hurt, but man, he was money when it paid off. And if you just have those guys on your rosters, that's the type of guy I want to have on my roster over some of these handcuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's still the out that, you just heard his coach give out comparisons about him and Devontae Adams and say sky's the limit. Maybe it's just coach speak, but that's better than just he's doing a good job, he's working hard, we got a great wide receiver room, et cetera. No, giving comps or comparisons about Devontae Adams games and his game and then saying sky's the limit for that guy, no, that boom.
I guess I'm just scared to tell him because I can also see him just being a bum this year, just not doing anything, and then week 16, people will get in my DM. See, I told you, why are you talking about this trash ass receiver? So I can see it, but I'm willing to bet on him. I was literally just watching. That's my thing. I just like watching. I like looking at you. I'll pull up Dontavius Wicks highlights and just watch. I'm looking at this dude just cooking. I'm like, golly.
Yeah, he looks nice. He fits the part too. He's the best of all three of them together. He's the best of all three. He's not the fastest, he's not the quickest in the short area.
He's quick though. He's quick.
He is quick. And he's I think his hands are pretty good.
The problem with him though is he doesn't have the draft capital, which I guess don't matter, after a while, right? Like Stephon Diggs was a late round pick. But they have these other guys that I need them to move. Watson is there.
I can see Dobbs moving. Because Dobbs is good and serviceable, but he's just nothing special. So I could see him moving. And if he takes Dobbs' position, if you just got Jaden, and Jaden Reed is a kind of a gadget guy, short area guy, sweeps, and then you got Christian Watson, kind of big play guy, and then you just have Wicks as the sort of kind of the go-to possession guy.
I do got somebody though I do want to mention, because I play a lot of. If you're not familiar with Dynasty leagues, there's a what they call safe leagues, ran by what's the guy that does the SFB, what's his name?
I have no idea.
Scott Fishbowl?
Scott Fishbowl, yeah. Scott Fish, he runs the Safe League Dynasty League. I've been in for a long time. But they're going to have their first waiver run for Dynasty Wednesday. So it's coming up, depending on when you're listening to this. But I am trying to grab as much Trey Sermon as I can.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
Because I think Trey Sermon is the running back too. I'm pretty certain, actually, at this point. He's pretty much run as the number 2 running back in camp, and Hole and the other guy, whoever the other guy is, they're really more so competing a third down guy. I think people are starting to recognize that, but if you haven't, pay attention to Trey Sermon. I know he's kind of burned us years in the past, especially when he's with the Niners. But he had a good end of the year last year, and Jonathan Taylor has gotten hurt. And you see what the Colts do when a player gets hurt. They will feed that number 2 running back to the moon, like with Zach Moss. By the way, I think Zach Moss is undervalued. But they'll feed that running back to the moon, and he's right there and he's free. Not only is he free, especially in redraft, he's not even being drafted. I don't even think he has an ADP right now. So don't ignore that guy, because that is literally like you were saying with Ty Chandler. He's even more of that. He's in that same boat. So
all right, guys, that's our episode this week. Please like, rate, subscribe. We're out.
Hayden Hurst. We're out.
Hayden Hurst.